This Scumbag IRL streamer originally fled to the US with $6 in hopes of getting away from the authorities for live streaming himself being awful to his dog countless amount of times. But unfortunately for him, he's just been arrested. So meet Lil Dealy, possibly one of the largest morons to ever stream on Kick.com. And that really says a lot because there's some serious competition when it comes to the Hall of Fame of morons over on that website. And this guy, Lil Dealy, he claims that he became famous for what he does to his phone.
You know, you have your thing that make you different from everyone else. Me is crashing in, punching my phone, spitting on my phone. This is my thing. This is my thing to stand out.
Obviously, we're talking about a rocket scientist here today, but, you know, reality is people watch him because he's pathetic, and he really makes you grateful that you're not living his life, because he spends his days being awful to his dog.
No.
Come here.
Stop.
Come here.
Don't hit the dog.
It's my dog.
No, you don't grab her. No, you don't grab the
Tell me what I do when I'm on.
It's shocking that, number one, he would do that to begin with, and number two, live stream himself doing so willingly. He's a complete garbage human. He also feeds his dog pizza, ice cream, and then when it acts out, he headlocks it and says this.
I will kill you right here. I will break your neck right here. Get the down.
And I guess after doing that, he'll smoke up and beg for money so he can pay for Tinder.
Someone give me $20 Canadian to buy Tinder Platinum, bro. Someone PayPal me $20 Canadian to get me Tinder Platinum, bro.
Obviously, calling him pathetic is a complete understatement. The dude willingly streamed himself doing this for months, so people started tracking him because they were extremely worried for his dog. He also ended up fleeing Canada because he caught wind of the police opening investigations on him, and then he went to Texas to compete in one of Ice Poseidon's challenges. And this is what I covered in my last video of him, essentially bumming around from motel to motel in the States because he didn't win the Ice Poseidon competition. And it seems like that was like his Hail Mary to fix all of his financial problems and real problems in life. And we can only assume that this was because he was afraid of moving back home to Canada because he was being investigated over there. So he ended up moving to the States. The last couple of weeks, he's been streaming himself laying in motel beds, trying to figure out how to book a US immigration appointment while his chat is essentially roasting him.
Orchik says you need an appointment for tomorrow's office thing, and those appointments take months to get. People sell appointment slots because of how many people are waiting.
You don't even know where I'm going.
So you had that, and you also had him eating pizza and trying to get a match on Tinder or Facebook dating. But there was one massive problem for him, because obviously he still had all of his stuff in his apartment in Toronto, and he didn't plan to just flee Canada as quickly as he did, and needed to go back home to get all of his stuff because he could move to the States. Apparently, the reason he can move to the States is because he is or partially is Native American, and therefore that allows him to freely move across the border as long as he can prove that he is in fact Native American. But the elephant in the room is, since he live streamed himself doing everything, that allowed the Canadian government to compile a whole bunch of evidence on him while he was trying to make it in America. So obviously, he live streamed his entire journey from Texas back up to Canada, because he also said, yeah, I gotta go back to Canada and pick up my stuff. When he got to the Canadian border, they were waiting for him. I just realized I forgot to turn on my other studio light, so half the video might have some odd lighting. But the post reads, the Toronto Police Service is making the public aware of an arrest made on an animal cruelty investigation. On Saturday, August 16, 2025, officers responded to an animal complaint radio call. It is alleged that the accused was posting videos of himself uttering threats to his dog. The accused posted another video where a woman can be heard telling the accused to stop hitting the dog as the dog is crying in the background. On Wednesday, September 10, 2025, Lionel House, who is our guy Lil Dealy over here, 25 of Toronto, was arrested and charged with uttering threats/animals, birds, willful cause of unnecessary pain/suffering or injury to an animal or bird. He was scheduled to appear in court at the Toronto Regional Bail Center on Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 at 10 a.m. And I guess the most important information of all this is, if any of you guys actually have more clips of him doing this, they're looking for more information, so you can contact the police here or anonymously over here, as you can see in the highlighted section there. But moving on. So I mean, hey, who would have thought that live streaming yourself being awful to your dog would catch up to you? Obviously not this moron, but the cops arrested him, dragged him into Toronto Regional Bail Center as of September 10th, and he had his first bail hearing. The court hasn't released what happened yet, but here's the deal. Either he's out with some serious conditions, which I heavily doubt, because if he was let out, he would be whining on his stream and about everything that's going on with him. He would use this to clout farm, knowing this guy. I say that like I know the guy. I don't know the guy. I've just sat here, unfortunately, watching hours of his streams. So from the pattern of behavior that I've seen on his live streams, he would definitely be live streaming right now if he was out. What's most likely happening is he's sitting in a holding cell thinking about how he regrets live streaming what he did to the dog. Because again, after seeing hours of his live streams, I'm very sure that he still thinks that he hasn't done anything wrong, because he spent so much time telling people that he didn't actually do what people were accusing him of doing, despite live streaming it. He was also saying like, oh, this was all out of context and or deep faked as well. Like he was also saying that like the dude had only excuses and no accountability.
Think it's not edited? Oh, you don't think he cut it the parts? So when you think I actually told I was serious when I was telling my dog I was going in GTA? You think I was serious there? These kids actually think I was serious when I was saying I was going. Oh my god! If you actually believe that, your brain dead. If you watch the full clip, you'll see what I said in the clip. I said, look, my dog don't understand anything I say. My dog doesn't understand English. I'm like, watch this. Look, and I smelled there. Look, I'll do this. I'll put it in the ear.
But the main thing he has to worry about was in this press release, because, you know, it said he allegedly posted videos of himself uttering threats toward his dog, and that he also posted a video where a woman is heard telling him to stop hitting the dog, and the dog is crying in the background. Those facts show several aggravating features. Obviously, you have the documentation and video evidence that he recorded and posted those videos. Actually, he just live streamed those videos, and thus it turned into a VOD. So technically he live streamed and recorded it and distributed it, if that even counts. But obviously in the court's eye, that tends to magnify the harm or seriousness when a judge is looking at this. And we also watched that video ourselves earlier on this video, so we know it definitely exists. And also we saw in that same video, he knew what he was doing, because in that clip, he told the woman not to tell him what to do. So this was no accident. And we also heard the animal whimper in the back. So this one's going to be hard for him to wiggle his way out of. And we also know this is definitely repeated behavior, as he's live streamed himself doing this countless times. And obviously, since there's a lot of public pressure now, that could easily make his sentencing worse. So currently, the uttering threats and harm to animals has a max sentence in Canada of up to 2 years. And then the animal cruelty / willfully causing suffering, that has a max sentence of up to 5 years. So absolute worst case for him is 7 years in prison. Will he get that though? The odds are extremely low. All we can really do is wait and see. If you want me to go to his trial though, drop a like on this video, because there's no news reporting of this at all. So why don't we just show up and actually report it boots on the ground? But I mean, at least a guy didn't host a internet thread which ended up costing him about $1.8 million like this vegan influencer did. And now he's currently on the run because he obviously does not want to pay $1.8 million to a couple that he potentially destroyed the lives of. So that's also an interesting story right there you can check out. Other than that, if you're new here, drop a like if you want me to go to the trial, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.